Okay, my name is Charm, which is short for Charmaine, because there's only so many years you can put up with being called Charmin Butt Wipe. I've only been doing comedy. This is my third time, so bear with me. So, a little bit about myself. I don't have any dogs or cats, but I do have chickens. Anyway, I don't have dogs because my husband won't let me. If I were to bring a dog home, he'd probably say, "Okay, Charm, it's me or the dog." Of course I'm going to choose my husband, because the dog cannot pay the bills. I live up here in northern Minnesota, like most of you, very close to Wisconsin, which automatically makes me an alcoholic.
Got that right.
I moved here maybe about 6 years ago from California. My husband decided that, well, he kind of got obsessed with Alaska, and he decided that this might be a good practice place. Alaska Light, you know. So he started researching Minnesota, and he started listening to Prairie Home Companion with Garrison Keillor every Sunday night, and he memorized a bunch of Ole and Lena jokes. I made him watch a Little House on the Prairie episode and told him it's not really like that, except for the snow part. And then he got on the website Wikipedia, if you guys ever heard of that one, and looked up Pine County, found out it's the gayest county in Minnesota. I'm not kidding. It was on Wikipedia, so that means it's true. So we left our son behind in California because he was like, "Fuck that shit." And then we came to Minnesota, and we fit in here pretty well. I mean, my husband has a really big beard. I try not to have a really big beard. It only takes about 2 hours a night of plucking to manage that one.
Get it wet.
Thank you. Hi, George. Come on in, buddy. We saved you some spots over here, if you can squeeze in there.
I didn't know they had beer here.
Otherwise, you could sit up here and just watch my butt. Or watch me fall off the stage. Whoa! So yeah, guys, don't tell me to break a leg, because I might, exactly. So, anyway, my chickens, it's really fun to have chickens. Like, first of all, we got this deal going. I feed them, and then they feed me. So it's kind of like I'm their pet. But they've got me trained really good, because I clean up all their crap, and I pay for the insurance and electricity on their little house. So, I'm not the only one that loves my 10 little hens. They're wooed and pursued daily by their their rooster. He's gorgeous. So anyway, my rooster, he's gorgeous. He's a half-size rooster. He's very colorful. And every day he does this kind of thing to his hens. Shows them his pretty wing. Like he's like a little matador. His name is Signori too, so it's very fitting. And then those hens, they're just like, "Whatever, Signori, I'm trying to eat here." So he's very proud and cocky, and he struts around the yard constantly, like acting all cool. But at the first sign of trouble, he's hiding in the coop. Of course. So yeah, earlier I told you my name is Charmaine, and if you can imagine a little girl having to grow up with a name like that, I mean, first of all, it's like so many letters, you gotta come up with a song in order to spell it in the kindergarten. And then you have everybody like your whole life calling you like Chow Mein and Charlemagne and Champagne and Chow Mein and Maynard and Charmin Butt Wipe, that was the pinnacle. So, good stuff, Maynard, Charmaine. So, yeah, hecklers, hello, I got some eggs here. Okay, next time I'm bringing snowballs. That hasn't happened yet, so I had to settle for eggs tonight.
So
Thank
you
God.
throw them at people?
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, no, I'll get a pitcher to do it for me. I'm not very good at aiming. I don't really want to, throw one at George and then accidentally get Becky.
Yeah.
Gotta blow up hard first.
Yeah. So anyway, one day I was at the state fair and they had this stand for charm bracelets. And I thought, oh, that's really fun. My name is Charm and I could have a charm bracelet. So I asked the lady how it works. She says, just pick out your letters, pick out your shiny little band. We'll put that together for you. So I picked out my letters, I lined them up, I gave it to her. She said, what is it supposed to be spelling? And I said, that. And I had spelled out charm, okay? And she looked at me like I was the stupidest person in the universe. She's like, you just don't get this, lady. My son, he's 21 now, but I don't know, if any of you guys have little kids, it'd be really a good idea for you to write down some stories so you don't forget the funnest things that happened, because kids are full of really funny things. And out of all the funny things he did, I can only remember a few, and I'm going to share those with you now, because he's not here for me. He doesn't know I'm embarrassing him. We can keep that one secret. So when my son Lynx was only 2 years old, I brought him to my friend Cheryl's house to meet her for the first time. And it was a split entry house, and we just kind of opened the front door, and she's waiting up at the top of the steps. She has her 2 cats, one on either side. My son looks up at her and says, "You have titties!" 2 years later, when he was around 4 years old, we were at a hotel and we were so excited about going swimming in the indoor pool. So he was booking it down the hallway, just running in his shorts. And then he suddenly stops halfway down the hall and looks back at me, and he has a look of abject terror in his eyes. And he says to me, "I thought it was a part." So is 4 the new 50? So yeah, I heard you can't trust a fart past 50. Which kind of reminds me that I'm growing old too. When I turned 46, I started getting all these Target marketing ads that I did not want, and that's what was making me think that I'm pretty dang old, because all of my fun ads for like doing art and going water skiing and doing all this other crazy stuff turned into support bras and Depends. I was like, wait, what is going on here? And I was especially offended about the whole Depends, but then I really thought about it, and then I had to admit to myself, Charm, for the past 21 years, every time you've coughed, sneezed, or laughed too hard, ever since your son was born, there's been a possibility that you were going to piss in your pants, and it's happened plenty. So quit getting so defended and get some of those. So anyway, I didn't stoop that low, but I thought about it. So yeah, and I don't really feel that old when I look in the mirror. 46. I mean, I guess unless you look at my neck, because here you go. 36, 56. But I do know I am old because most recently I downloaded a bingo app. And I played it enthusiastically. Another game I enjoy playing is Words with Friends, which is essentially a Scrabble game, but here's the kicker. They have their own dictionary. They like to make up words in that game, and tell me that my words aren't real. I don't know what they're getting at. Okay, I mostly play against the computer, and the computer is the biggest cheater. What is a drosky? They're always making up words. The other day, they used the word zorses. What the heck is that? According to them, it's a cross between a zebra and a horse. I thought that'd be called a hebra. So anyway, and then I was like, well, if they can do it, I could do it. So I just started making up words, throwing words up there until he said it was valid. What the heck is a ganef? I don't know, but it worked, okay? And then when I do use real words, they always say that it's not real, like Jedi. That's been a word since 1977. Come on. Another one that they said was not real is for shizzle. I got on Urban Dictionary, and it's a for sure real word. It's faux shizzle. Another word they said was not real is queef. I disagree. Not only is queef a word, but it's also an event. So I guess I got distracted when some peoples were coming in because I forgot to finish telling you my funny story about my son. Okay, here's a good one. Fast forward 15 years, and he's like a young man traveling the world. It was before his senior year, he decided to go to Asia by himself. And that's the kind of kid he is. Like, he's gone helicopter skiing in Wyoming and, like, I don't know, he's gone zip lining in Costa Rica. So this time he decides he's going to South Korea and Vietnam. So I let him go with a little bit of trepidation, but whatever, I want him to be an independent person. So he calls me every day to check in with me, let me know how he's sleeping in like these funny little coffin things that are supposed to be like hotels. And one of the things that he was super excited about when he was in Vietnam is that he had to spend only $20 to get a full body massage. So I asked him, did that come with a happy ending? Complete and utter silence. I'm wondering if we lost the connection. I can just imagine his ears turning red. And then he says, "Mother, that costs extra." We are in store for a good night of laughs tonight, and I'm very excited to introduce our next comedian. And is he ready, you think?
I'm about to be.
Okay, right on. We're going to throw you to the wolves, mister. So all the way from Omaha, Nebraska, D.C. Cronin. He's a very funny fella. I've seen a bunch of videos of him on the internet. I'm very excited to hear him in real life, because the internet is not real, despite what they've told you. Okay, so here's D.C. Cronin. Thank you. Everybody put your hands together.
Give it up for her real quick.